the No More Late Fees podcast. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Danielle. And we're just two best friends and ex-Blockbuster employees rewatching some of our favorite movies from the late 90s and early 2000s.
Today, we are talking about my favorite animated movie, Lilo and Stitch. It is a movie produced by the Disney Animation Studios, released in 2002. And part of the reason why this is my favorite movie is because as all the promotions were coming out for Lilo and Stitch to be released at the end of June, I got really, really sick. And I was in the hospital for a week and a half with bacterial meningitis. And so for a week and a half straight, I watched the Disney Channel's promotion of Lilo and Stitch, got me super hyped to see it. And the day I was released from the hospital, I went to the movie theater that night. I was at home on IV antibiotics. And so I had my little port and everything, but I still went to the theater that night to see Lilo and Stitch. I was so excited to see it. And so it's remained my favorite animated movie to this date.
That was a very scary time for all of us. I was stuck at school and that was horrible when I really was like terrified that you were going to leave me all alone.
Quarantined in a hospital room for a week and a half. Every time the nurses came in, they had to like full suit up, masks, like the hazmat suits and everything. So it could have been a traumatic experience. Unfortunately, I'm not easily traumatized, I guess. And to this day, sometimes my mom will watch a special about someone who has survived meningitis and had amputations or hearing loss, and she'll call me in a panic like, you could have been deaf, you could have no limbs. And I'm just like, but I didn't. We're fine. I'm fine. It's fine.
That was the worst time, but I'm glad a positive came out of it. I mean,
yes, my love of Lilo and Stitch.
Well, if you're looking to watch this movie or rewatch this movie, it is available on Disney Plus. So thank God for that. But obviously, before we get started, we got to do our ratings rewind. So this is how we normally do it. Before we get into any movie, we reveal the rating our Y2K versions of ourselves would give. And then at the end, we see if our current selves agree with our initial rating. So our scale consists of would buy it again,
the best, would play on repeat,
5-day rental,
would watch again,
2-day rental,
and it's just
and same-day rental.
Trash, throw it in the dumpster.
Dumpster fire.
What is Y2K's Danielle's rating?
I think it was a 5-day rental. I mean, pretty much with the exception of a handful, there's not like a lot of Disney animated films that I don't like love. But the whole theme of Hawaii and the two sisters, I very much liked it. I don't watch it a lot, as much as probably you do, or even my sister. We rewatched it during the quarantine, and but I do like it. So 5-day rental for me. I mean, I don't even know if we have to ask you what your rental is ratings.
Would buy it again. I own it on iTunes and DVD. And I'm pretty sure VHS somewhere.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
Yeah. And everybody at home, just know it's not just the movie she owns. There are multiple things.
I have paraphernalia.
Yeah. I was gonna say memorabilia, but yeah, it could be considered paraphernalia.
I used to refer to Stitch as my spirit animal, but then through education, I've realized that spirit animal is cultural appropriation, so I will no longer use that term to describe him. He's naughty, he tries to be nice, and he tries to learn about Lilo and take care of her. So I really I really love that.
We definitely have to post pictures from Halloween a few years back when
Yes.
Jackie dressed up as Stitch and her husband Ken dressed up as Lilo. I, of course, was Cruella de Vil, so I was. It was a Disney themed Halloween party, and it was so much fun. But yeah, we have a ton of pictures of that. I even
Yes.
have that wonderful video of you putting on your nose paint, thinking it was a picture, but it was a video.
We'll definitely have to share. I have a Stitch onesie. The love runs real deep.
Yeah, I make fun of her, but I also am an enabler. So
it's true. She went to Thailand, and apparently in Asian countries, especially, Stitch is hugely popular. And so I got all sorts of Stitch swag when Danielle came back to the States. It was amazing.
It was really hard to just get myself to not buy. There was so much stuff. Like I was like, what year is it? Why is there so much? I didn't understand that it was like so popular there. And we were in Chinatown. I got her an eye mask. There's that pillow from when you go to the airport, but it had like a hood on it so you can cover your eyes if you want to go to sleep as well. I think I got you like a keychain. What's that wobbly thing?
Oh, like one of those solar, I don't know, you put it in front of a window, it has a little solar panel on it, and he kind of just nods his head.
Yeah, I went overboard. So thanks, Thailand.
So here we go. Lilo and Stitch is, like Danielle said, based in Hawaii on the island of Kauai. And it is the story of two siblings, Lilo and Nani, who are recently orphaned. Their parents passed away in a car accident.
Disney's gotta stop killing these parents, man. What the fudge is that about? Like seriously, they're always killing parents. Okay, sorry. It just bothers me. Like this is not normal. Like why is always at least one or both parents dead, except for the Incredibles? We probably can go on a whole tangent on that, but go ahead. Sorry.
So before we meet Lilo and Nani, the movie opens in outer space because Stitch, spoiler alert, is an alien.
If you didn't know, if you've been under a rock, that's 626. His name is 626 in the beginning. Experiment 626.
Oh, and the reason why we're doing Lilo and Stitch this week is because June 26th is Lilo and Stitch Day because it's 626.
I literally just learned this just now. And you told me that Lilo and Stitch Day was June 26th. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think why did they have it on that day, but
there's a reason.
It feels
There's
stupid.
a reason for everything.
Okay.
So we open up, we are in outer space at the Galactic Council, which is very reminiscent of the Republic meetings in Star Wars, where all the different alien species get together to make decisions for the galaxy. And Grand Councilwoman, pretty sure that's what, that's what she goes by, is the leader of this Galactic Council, and she is bringing charges up against Jumba, who is an mad scientist alien, and he has created all these different experiments, and experiment 626, which
is Stitch,
is named Stitch eventually. He is so dangerous that they're bringing charges against Jumba for creating him.
My question is, they only speak of 626 and he only says that he has like this one experiment, but we know later, and do we find out later in the other movies that he has many more, or do they know that he has other ones? Because is it just that Stitch is that dangerous?
It's all his other ones, which you learn in Lilo and Stitch, the TV series, which I highly recommend watching it. I'll get into that later. Actually, let's get into that now. So Lilo and Stitch, the series, is fantastic. This is a total tangent, but I have to encourage people to watch it. And it is about, they call them cousins. Stitch calls them cousins because that's what people in Hawaii call each other, are cousins. And the cousins start slowly coming to Hawaii after the events of Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch, and Leroy and Stitch. The cousins start coming to Earth, and Lilo helps them find their place in the world. So one like causes earthquakes. So she finds a place where he belongs, where that's helpful to someone or a group of people. So every episode is about a different experiment and finding their place in the world. So I used to use Lilo and Stitch, the series, in my social skills lessons when I taught special education, because it really reinforced that fact that even though we may have differences, we always belong somewhere.
That's so sweet. And
So
it's so true.
I'll get off my soapbox now, but Lilo and Stitch, the series, is on Disney Plus. Highly, highly, highly recommend watching it. If you're an adult, if you have kids, it's great for everyone. Everyone has a purpose. Everyone belongs somewhere.
So again, do we find out he has other experiments in this movie?
Yeah, they know about his other experiments, but they're kind of benign. They really aren't
dangerous like Stitch's. Okay. Correct.
Yeah, because Stitch was created to just destroy. Gotcha. And he's fireproof. Really, his only weakness is water, because he's very dense and can't swim.
I just want to mention that some of the aliens look like animals we have here on Earth. Yes. For example, Captain Gantu, who looks like a huge ass shark. And so then, of course, my mind went on a tangent and was thinking, okay, well, what if Earth is just filled with other aliens, but we call them animals, but they're really aliens?
I love that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I am totally down for every other species on Earth being an alien race, and they're just collecting info and living their best alien lives on Earth.
Yeah, like,
because Bleakley does look kind of squid-like. He has little squid legs.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jumba doesn't really look like anything. They also did model some of the aliens in the council after different Disney characters.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Especially Winnie the Pooh characters. So there's a species that kind of looks like Tigger, one that kind of looks like Piglet, one kind of that looks like Roo. So they did pull from other previous Disney franchises.
I did notice the piglet looking alien, and I just thought it was weird, but I never put 2 and 2 together. Look at the learning I'm doing today.
Oh, I'm gonna learn you some stuff real good, Danielle. Because not that I outwardly search for like Lilo and Stitch facts, but just along my Lilo and Stitch journey for 20 years, I picked up a thing or two. So Jumba's on trial. He gets sentenced. He's now in galactic prison. Stitch is taken away to be destroyed. Because he is Stitch, he outsmarts the like little laser cannons that are monitoring him and gets out of his
which are genetically coded so that they won't shoot someone else. He starts spitting loogies at people. He starts spitting on people and tricking the guns to start shooting at other people. And I was like, he's a smart one, isn't he?
He is. And if you had ever done the Lilo and Stitch encounter at Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World, you go through that process, but they closed it now.
Oh no, really?
R.I.P. Lilo and Stitch experience. Yeah. So Stitch escapes, hijacks a rocket ship, and takes off towards the planet Earth.
Yes. I was gonna say
In section in area 51 is where it's coded to.
I love that when she said that, I genuinely giggled when she called it that.
There are certain things about this movie that I say like in my everyday life, and Earth is one of them.
So they think that everything's going to be good because it looks like he's going to hit water,
and he can't swim.
And so they think, okay, problem taken care of, which they weren't really going to kill him. They were going to send him to an asteroid or something where he was just going to be left there, right? Yeah. But then they realize that he's actually hitting Hawaii. Yeah. So he's going to be fine.
He lands on the great state of Hawaii, on the island of Kauai, like I said. And then it transitions to this beautiful opening where they start playing a Hawaiian song, and you see Lilo swimming in the ocean, and you see Pudge the fish very briefly with a sandwich. And then Lilo realizes she is late to her hula practice. And so she's running, trying to get to her hula practice. The whole time she's doing this, it's cut in with scenes of these Hawaiian hula dancers, and the little kids in front of them that are also practicing their hula. And so Lilo arrives soaking wet because she's just come out of the ocean, finishes the dance. Everyone does great, but then because she's wet, the water is all over the floor and all the little kids trip and fall, and they're mad at her. The dance instructor asks her why she's late and why she's soaking wet, and her response is, I have to feed Pudge the fish a sandwich every Thursday, essentially because he controls the weather. And everyone just thinks she's a crazy little girl feeding this Pudge the fish a sandwich. What is very interesting about that story is that her parents were killed when they went for a drive, and it started like monsoon raining, and they were in a car accident and were killed. And so it kind of leads you to believe that she feels like, maybe this is me speculating about Pudge the fish, but maybe she always fed him a sandwich, but she missed a day, and that was the day her parents died. But anyway, she has it in her head that Pudge controls the weather, and that she has to feed him a sandwich to keep everyone safe on Thursdays. And I mean, in a 6-year-old brain, like, that makes sense. You know, you don't know how everything works. You just know what works for you in your little 6-year-old mind.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, when those kind of things happen, even everybody can tell you could be nowhere near it, but you could take personal offense and think that you had something to do with it, because you're trying to make some logical sense of death is not quite logical, especially for a child. So yeah, she definitely needs some therapy throughout this, like as you go through this whole movie.
She does have some like PTSD that is not being addressed, and not for like, Nani's doing her best, but she doesn't know. Anyway, so Lilo gets in an altercation. She tells her Pudge the fish story, and then gets into an altercation with her arch nemesis Myrtle, because Myrtle's a fucking bitch.
Myrtle deserved every last handprint on that face. 1,000%.
Yes. So Myrtle is this little girl. Obviously, they must be classmates. They're dance mates. And Myrtle is just a nasty bitch. She has a rude comment for everything, always coming for Lilo. And Lilo is street. She's not putting up with that shit. So, I mean, if you gotta punch, pull hair, bite, Lilo's not above it.
And she just wants friends. She just wants to be liked, and Myrtle does everything she can to ostracize her and not make her feel included. And so
has her little gang of mean girls. that follow her around. And so Lilo tries really hard, and Lilo is very forgiving. And so in the moment, she retaliates, and then she goes out. She has her little doll scrump that she's made, and it's homemade, stitched. It's not cute.
No,
I think it's cute, but it's not cute. And so she sees the other girls that have Barbie dolls, and she goes out and she's like, "Hey guys, you want to play?" And they're like, "What the hell is that thing you have?" And she's like, "Oh, this is Scrump. I made her." Her head's kind of wonky, so I just pretend like bugs laid eggs in her ears and she only has a few days to live. And they're like, "Deuces, like we can't deal with this that's happening right now."
They're conformist, and she's unique and creative, and they don't appreciate that yet.
Yes. Not to say that Lilo is not uber dramatic at every single turn. That girl has drama for days. So she's rejected by the girls that she wants to be friends with. She decides to walk home. Nani's supposed to be coming to get her, but Lilo walks home.
So as an older sister, and thank God Serena did not give me this kind of trouble, but if I told your ass to meet me on the steps and I come and you're not there, and then I gotta go search for you, especially with the fact that the social worker was coming to the house. And so now Nani is in like a panic, and she knows her sister. Luckily, she knows that her sister is about that drama life. So she starts heading back home. Of course, she runs into, not knowingly, the social worker, and she kicks his car because she comes
running, stupid head.
Yeah, she comes running out into the street, and he doesn't see her. And then, like you said, here comes the drama with.
So she gets home. Lilo has nailed the door shut.
I can't. How old is Lilo supposed to be?
6.
That's crazy.
So Lilo has nailed the door shut. They have a dog door, so Nani pokes her head in and finds Lilo, so emo, laying on the floor next to her record player, playing her Elvis records because she loves the king. And Nani's like, "The fuck you doing?" And Lilo's response is, "Leave me here to die."
Yeah. I'm just shocked. Like, where is she picking this stuff up from? Look, again, as an older sister, I would have threatened her breath. You want to die? You gonna die. And then I would have switched it to bribery if the death threats weren't working.
Yeah, because the social worker is on his way.
Yeah.
And so while Nani's threatening the life of Lilo, social worker walks up, voiced by Ving Rhames. Oh, Nani is voiced by Tia Carrere. Lilo is voiced by Daveigh Chase. I hope I said that right. And so social worker walks up. He's like, "The fuck is happening here?" Nani can't let him in because the door is still nailed shut. She has to eventually go around the back of the house, break a window, climb in the window to let him in. And he's already like, "This shit's not going well." He walks into, like, you can tell Nani and Lilo have kind of gone over a script of like, this is what you need to tell the social worker.
Right.
Lilo goes off script and says that she gets punished sometimes 5 times a day. Social worker's like, "What the fuck is happening here?"
I would kill her. Yeah. I would kill her.
And then Nani has shit cooking on the stove. Like, Nani, the social workers come in. Make dinner afterwards. Everyone can have a sandwich for dinner that night. Like, don't be.
Yeah, I think they're both their worst enemies, honestly. Yeah. Like, the situation, which I can commiserate, because I feel like Nani was thrown into, like, she probably doesn't even have time to grieve what's happened. this is not the trajectory of her life that she was
Right.
going for, taking care of her 6-year-old sister when she's probably,
Maybe
wanting.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah. It's bad.
yeah. So the social worker is like, I'm going to keep my eye on you. I'll be back in 3 days. All this shit better be taken care of.
Yeah.
So, and he introduces himself as Mr. Bubbles, and Lilo goes, but your knuckles said Cobra. And so it's Cobra Bubbles, which I just chuckle at every time. And so afterwards, Nani's kind of trying to, like, you can tell she's just going through all the scenarios in her head and all the shit she has to do prior to the social worker coming back. Meanwhile, Lilo is willfully oblivious that anything is wrong. She's sitting in her room making voodoo dolls out of forks and spoons of her friends, in quotation marks, puts them in a pickle jar and shakes them up and says, my friends need to be punished.
What the fuck is wrong with this girl?
Danielle, this girl is my sister Heather as a child. The mood swings,
Heather
the drama.
Not making voodoo dolls of people.
Maybe not that part, but every other single aspect, down to like the little pudgy girl with the unkept hair in the bathing suit and the really tan skin. Like, that is Heather to a T. She will tell you that. She will confirm this assessment. So anyway, Nani walks in like, I'm about to beat your ass. And Lilo screams so loud. They're chasing each other all over the house, just screaming at each other. Nani's threatening to get rid of Lilo and get a rabbit instead. And
I would have opted for that too. Because what the hell?
And then Nani tries to reason with her, but because Lilo is a traumatized 6-year-old, she just keeps yelling no, and then she just like flops on the floor. And that really resonated with me because a lot of my students would do similar things.
Yeah.
So and then they both calm down. They're able to have a conversation, and Lilo's just like, people treat me different and I don't understand why. And so Nani kind of reassures her that, like, it's because you're special and we'll get through this together. We just have to work together instead of working against each other. And then we are in Lilo's room, and she has a habit or a hobby. She has a hobby of taking pictures of tourists and putting them up on her wall, and she calls them like her family. And she says, aren't they beautiful?
Yeah. Okay. Psychotic.
No. So this is, I've read a couple of different theories about this. The first one of which is that being on Kauai, which is a tourist destination, she attempts to make friends with people, and a lot of the time people leave her. And so this is her way of making sure she always has a part of all of these people that she's met. And then another theory is also that, again, because Hawaii is a tourist destination, a lot of times when Native Hawaiians are encountered, tourists will take pictures of them as kind of like a visual souvenir of being to Hawaii, traveling to Hawaii.
Tokenism.
Yes,
Super
exactly.
Weird. And that happens, that happens a lot in Asia too. Like when you're Black and you travel to Asian countries, a lot of Asian people want to take pictures of you, and it's super, super weird.
Yeah. And so that was another theory, was like Lilo flipped that script and was like, oh, y'all taking pictures of me, I'm going to take pictures of all you. But it's that thing of, she doesn't have family, and so she kind of is using these pictures to create her own family in her imagination.
Was this story based on like whoever wrote it? Like, was it their own life that they brought into it? Was it based on anything or just this original story?
No, Chris Sanders is the author. It was originally pitched as a children's book,
Mhm.
and when he couldn't get a book deal, he turned it into a screenplay. And so it was written by him, and I believe he was the director, and he is also the voice of Stitch.
Mm.
But it was just an idea he had. It was originally supposed to be set in the Midwest somewhere. He went on a trip to Hawaii. And so then he changed it to Hawaii because being on an island is isolating. And so he kind of ran with that.
Okay, that's cool.
They go to adopt a dog because Nani realizes Lilo needs a friend. Lilo needs something to take care of so she doesn't get in trouble.
Yeah, I just don't know if that would have been my first thought. Like having a
No.
dog is like having another kid, and you could barely handle the dramatic 6-year-old you have.
Yeah. Well, I guess prior to this, the night before they go to adopt the dog, Stitch lands on the island and is run over by a fucking 18-wheeler and still just chilling. And so he's taken to the shelter. I don't know why, because later on the adoption lady said he was dead earlier. So why are you taking a dead dog to the shelter? Anywho, semantics. So Lilo and Nani walk in. Lilo wants to adopt a lobster. And
Of course.
Like, we got a fucking dog door. We're adopting a dog. And so it's about this point where you find out Jumba and Pleakley were sent by the Grand Councilwoman to go retrieve Stitch. So Jumba and Pleakley are now, Pleakley is like,
he's just like a random scientist or worker, and he is the one that tells them that Earth is sacred because there's a colony of mosquitoes that
are
a reserve.
endangered.
Yeah, a reserve of mosquitoes.
Exactly. Which
was my theory.
Yes, which we'd finally have a reason to have fucking mosquitoes on Earth. Like, I'm not mad at it.
I mean,
so Pleakley, yeah, he just works for the Federation, and he's said to, like, because Jumba knows how to catch Stitch because he created him, but Pleakley is like the one that is sent to like keep Jumba in line and make sure the mission is
right. And the mosquitoes are protected, and so are the human beings because they need it.
They're their food source.
Yeah.
So Jumba and Pleakley set eyes on Stitch because he busts out of the adoption center, and Stitch was like, "Oh fuck, I better go back in."
He does know how to play it though. Like,
he does. And so he tucks in his extra set of arms and his little back fins. And so
it still does not look like a dog. Like that whole scene when they pick him and stuff, I'm just like, come on, y'all don't see this thing look weird.
I think Nani would just didn't want to argue.
Oh, Nani, that thing look weird. It's blue. He's blue. Forget everything else. There ain't no blue dogs.
You don't know.
No, there ain't no blue dogs.
Anywho, so Lilo said, and Nani does try to say, like, hey, let's choose something else. And Leo goes, nope.
That's the
good.
one.
Yep, he's good. I can tell.
That's like that TikTok video where it's like, that's your man. She's like, yeah, that's him. Yep. He mine.
That's my ride or die right there. So they adopt him for $2, get an official document stating that they have paid for Stitch. And then there is a montage of Lilo trying to train Stitch, and he's like, nah, bitch. Meanwhile, what is Nani doing? I guess Nani's not in that scene. So they're just touring around Kauai. And if you notice, all the places they visit are very notable places in Kauai. They really paid attention to making sure that it was geographically accurate of the island. And then also to note, this movie, because Disney had a bunch of unsuccessful animated features prior to Lilo and Stitch.
Unsuccessful? Which ones?
I think some underperformed, like Emperor's New Groove underperformed, Hercules underperformed. Like after The Lion King, there were several movies that just underperformed, didn't make their original budget back. And so they needed to cut costs with Lilo and Stitch. And so they used a watercoloring technique that the studio hadn't used since Dumbo in the 1940s. And so that cut on down on a lot of costs because it wasn't like these super intricate backgrounds. And it just made the movie beautiful. I think the watercolor technique really lent itself to the water and the beautiful sunsets and the mountains and things like that. And so that was just a fun fact of
the more you know. The more you know.
So they're touring around Kauai, and then we get to Nani's work. Nani has to take Lilo and Stitch to work with her, obviously, because she can't leave them home alone. And so they're kind of set up at a table in the back, and Nani works at one of those like faux luau places. She's a server, and her buddy David is a fire dancer.
Not so good.
David.
Not so good with
he's not so good with the fire dancing, but just an all-around great guy. And I don't know why Nani doesn't jump on that.
She does. She likes him, but like I don't think she had the headspace for it. And she says that to him, like she's like, "I told you," because he tries to ask her out again, and she got damn Lilo picking out a blue dog and running all over the place, slapping bitches in the face, making peanut butter sandwiches, talking to herself. Like her hands are full. And it's not like David is some grown man who could really help take the responsibility of all this. So I get it. But he is a hot piece of meat, and she better get on it before he burn himself.
Journal. She writes in her journal, which Lilo reads and then recites to David, that Nani likes your butt and fancy hair.
Oh, Lord.
Lilo's working that back angle for Nani.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, so Lilo's just like, Stitch isn't bad. He just needs desserts, which I feel like is my love language. Like, just feed me desserts, I'm good.
But I feel like she was just using that as an excuse. She wanted dessert. But Stitch wasn't having it. He devoured the whole thing, and then he threw it all up.
Yeah, he didn't like it.
I thought he felt bad because she was like, "Hey, you ate it with that, like you ate all of it." Maybe. And I think he was trying to be nice and was like, "Here, let me just regurgitate it." And like when he pulled the cherry out too to put on top, I was just like, "Oh my God." And she was like, "Gross, I don't want that." I think I like to look at it that he was being nice.
So at some point, I don't know why I don't remember what happened. But
don't they go surfing?
Well, no, Nani loses her job at the luau.
Because of Stitch and Lilo?
But I can't remember exactly what happens. Anywho, Nani loses her job at the luau. Cobra Bubbles gets wind of that. And so he makes a visit. And so he's like, "And what the fuck is this thing that you now have living in your house?" So he said, "Between the two of yous, you need to be a model citizen and you need to have a fucking job. Peace." Prior to that, they're at home the night before. Lilo's apologizing to Nani for making her lose her job. Nani makes up this story about how the owner is really a monster or something, or a vampire, to make Lilo feel better. And Stitch pulls out the Ugly Duckling book and is like pointing to the pages. And Lilo is explaining the story of the ugly duckling, how he was lost, and then his family finds him, and then he's home with his family.
Yeah. And doesn't he in that after that scene, does he try to show her what the hell happened to him with the with his spaceship crashing, and she just thinks he's crazy?
Well, she mentions like it's nice to live on an island, and he realizes because his whole function is to destroy cities.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's nice to live on an island with no major cities. And he's like, oh, what the fuck? So then he starts like building, which she goes, oh, San Francisco. So he builds it out of blocks, and then he pretends like he destroys that because
like
he
Godzilla.
can't, he can't destroy cities. So then the next day is Nani looking for a new job. So it's a montage of Nani looking for a new job, and then Lilo and Stitch. Lilo trying to teach Stitch how to be a model citizen like Elvis Presley.
There is a lot of Elvis in this movie.
It is. Not mad at it. My dad was a huge Elvis fan. Like all the pieces in this movie fit together for me. I grew up with Elvis. And so not mad at any of it. And so like obviously Stitch is trying,
but not doing so well.
Yeah.
They're both
trying.
Yeah, I think Stitch gives Lilo a sense of purpose. So I feel like her being such a troublemaker is maybe a little bit less, or now she has a partner in crime, but it's more of her trying to keep him in line.
Yes.
Which inadvertently keeps her somewhat in line.
Yeah. And so Nani's not successful. Lilo is like, okay, I've taught you all these strategies. Let's put it all together, and makes him perform on the beach as Elvis playing a ukulele. And it does not go well because people start crowding him, and he freaks out.
Yeah.
And Cobra Bubbles just happens to be on the beach at this time,
he's just
all of this.
Always there. I'm like, I thought you do scheduled visits, not like stalking every 10 seconds. He's just there.
There's also a theory, because he mentions
that
at the end that he was former CIA. And there's a theory that one or both of their parents was in the CIA. So he's actually not a social worker. He's just there to keep an eye on them after the parents pass away.
Yeah, because that makes sense. I also thought maybe when he saw Stitch, he knew that Stitch was an alien. And so he had to keep an eye. Because why would you tell a dog to be a model citizen? That's real suspect. And again, you see a dog, a blue dog, performing Elvis. Nobody thought that was suspicious. Okay.
Moving on. So Cobra Bubbles witnesses all of this shit show. And so he tells Nani, like, I'm going to have to take Lilo. I'm really sorry. I wish it could be different, but it's not. And so David shows up at that point, and he's like, you know what, let's just go surfing and forget about life for a while.
Right.
So we go into the Hawaiian roller coaster ride montage where the music plays, and they just have a wonderful
surf day
together. Stitch is on the surfboard. He's apprehensive at first, but then he realizes like, Nani and Lilo got this. I'm going to be safe with them. And that's kind of, I think, when he starts to realize like these people are now like my family. They're going to take care of me. Yeah. And so unfortunately, they hit a rough wave, or as Nani put it, some Lolo stuffed them in a barrel. And so they flip off the surfboard, and obviously Stitch can't swim. So he's just trying to grab on to
whoever.
Lilo,
yeah.
And Nani thinks like he's actively trying to drown her for some reason.
Yeah.
Stitch starts sinking to the bottom. David goes and gets him, rescues him. Everything's good. At the same time, Jumba and Pleakley are trying to grab Stitch, but they fail.
Yeah. Which I feel like him being underwater for that long could have killed him. But then obviously, as soon as that all happens, Nani takes Lilo out of the water. She's looking for Stitch. Nani doesn't give a damn about Stitch because she thinks that he almost killed her. And David goes to get Stitch, and then of course Mr. Cobra Bubbles is just standing there waiting and saying, "Okay, that's it.
Yeah,
this is the last. This is the last of it."
Yeah. So then we cut to that evening because he's like, I'll come and get Lilo tomorrow. So cut to that evening where Nani's kind of just gently letting Lilo know that things are going to be different and reassuring her that like everything's going to be okay. And they sing this really pretty Hawaiian song together. And then at the same time, Stitch kind of, I don't know if he's actively trying to run away or he goes out and then like starts to realize he's lost too. He doesn't have a family. He doesn't have anyone to protect him. Jumba and Pleakley are after him and he's losing Nani and Lilo. And so at this point, Jumba and Pleakley are fired because they have not been able to successfully capture Stitch and bring him back to the Galactic Council. And so then Jumba's like, good. Now we're on my terms. And he's just out to like destroy Stitch.
Yeah. And again, what the thing to note is when Jumba and Pleakley they go out in the world and they're like supposed to be incognito. But Pleakley has one eye. Jumba has like 6 eyes.
It's 4.
4 eyes. And I know it's a kid's movie and I've got to just let my mind wander, but I'm just like, ain't nobody see this?
Pleakley consistently uses a viewfinder. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, with
Viewmaster.
Yeah.
To look at stuff. I don't want to call Pleakley him or her. They only have one eye. That shit you need 2 eyes to focus on and see what is in it.
And that scene where Pleakley and Jumba fight over that bob wig. I was just like, wait a minute. Like they're just having a moment, they're talking, and then like Jumba like looks, I don't know if he's going to bed or he's not paying attention, but then Pleakley pulls out the wig and is just having his own moment looking at himself themselves in the mirror, and it's just like then Jumba catches
to be on fashion.
It was just so out of nowhere, the scene, and the fact that they were fighting over it just made me laugh so hard. It was just like, okay. But then, we fast forward to the next day. I don't know where Nani goes to the store. Yet it's like she doesn't learn. I mean, I know she's trying to get a job so that she can salvage all of this.
Yeah, David shows up and he's like, I found you a job, but we got to go now.
But why does David have to go with her? Why does it? Because like you cannot leave. I don't care on what planet. You can't leave a 6-year-old in the house by themselves, even if you're just going down the street. David should have stayed behind. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I agree. I concur with that statement. So while they're gone, Jumba and Pleakley break into the house, attempt to kidnap Stitch, destroy the whole fucking house.
But because they're fighting each other.
Yeah.
And does Stitch run away and then come back to like defend his family?
Yes. So Stitch, that's what I think happens is Stitch that night when Nani's saying goodbye to Lilo, Stitch kind of
realizes he's causing the problem.
Yeah. And so he leaves and then they're trying to catch him, but he wants to make sure Lilo's safe. So Stitch realizes that Lilo may be in danger too and runs back to the house to make sure that Lilo is safe. And so starts this whole fight with Jumba and Pleakley. And the really interesting thing about this movie too is that there's no villain. it's like Pleakley was the sign just to bring Stitch back. Jumba, like, although he wants to destroy Stitch, he's really not a bad guy. He's just like, I need to right my wrong.
I have to disagree. He created him in the first place to be a destroyer. Like, his intentions were not pure. Maybe he changed down the line, but initially I would have to say he's probably the villain in all this. And even Stitch starts to, in the beginning,
Well,
maybe,
I guess villain in the sense of targeting like Nani and Lilo.
and Lilo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, inadvertently he does, because I mean, they do, because they are trying to get Stitch. So, and they cause all sorts of havoc in their life because of it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the trouble that Stitch starts is because he's trying to get away from them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, it's not like a traditional, like, it's not one of the traditional, Disney movies where it's like a princess and a bad guy or a bad girl. It's very different, but there are some antagonists for sure in this movie.
So at the same time, because Grand Councilwoman has fired Jumba and Pleakley, she has hired Gantu, the shark guy, to come and reclaim Stitch and bring him back to the council.
But so what does he do? Because he gets in trouble at the end. She like retires him because of his actions.
He uses unorthodox measers to,
gotcha.
And he like doesn't give a shit that Lilo is captured with Stitch.
Right.
And like one of her main things is like, you cannot
hurt the humans because of the mosquitoes. Yeah. We need them. And that they're all
mosquito population. So Lilo and Stitch are fighting off Jumba and Pleakley in their house. At one point, Lilo calls Cobra and is like, bitch, I need help. And then goes, oh, good, my dog found the chainsaw. Click. Cobra's like, what the fuck is happening right now? So Nani comes out of the grocery store, stoked she got a job, things are looking up, sees a whole bunch of like fire trucks and ambulances heading down the road, just like, motherfuckers, please don't turn.
Don't turn left.
Don't turn left. And of course I turn left. She's like, fuck. And so if you could curse in Disney movies, it's exactly what Nani would have said in that scene.
I'm still mad because I'm just like, I'm frustrated with Nani because you know your sister does this shit. You know she's gonna get in trouble. I would have packed both of them up, had David introduce me to whatever, then tell him to take him outside if David wasn't going to stay. Like, I know that they did it to make it fit for the movie, but it was so, and I think that's one of the reasons why I get frustrated when watching this movie, because the decisions are just so not what I would normally do, but I understand it's because she's young. She's still young herself. So yeah, she then runs to the house on fire.
And Cobra is there too. And Cobra's like, okay, I'm taking Lilo now. Sorry, Nani. You don't even have a fucking house anymore.
Right.
So puts Lilo in the back of the car. He and Nani are talking about stuff. They're arguing. And Nani's like, no one else gets her. You can't take her away from me. Like, it's a recipe for disaster type thing. It's not what's best for Lilo. And while they're arguing, Lilo gets out of the car to rejoin Stitch.
Right.
And that's when Gantu captures them both, starts taking them to outer space.
And then doesn't Nani realize
Stitch gets out. So Stitch gets out.
Yeah.
And falls back to Earth. So now it's just Lilo going into space with Gantu. And Stitch is like telling Jumba in his little Stitch language, like, you gotta help a brother out.
Yeah.
And Gantu's like, what? You just expect me to help you? And Stitch is like, yeah, bitch. And Jumba's like, okay, we're doing his plan now. And so at that point, Stitch says Ohana, which means family, and Stitch is like, this is my fucking family, and we're gonna go rescue Lilo.
And Nani is pissed. She is ready to kill Stitch.
Yeah, she's like, Lilo, she hangs out with that fucking thing. Now she's gone up into space. And so Jumba and Pleakley go back to their ship and hop in and start chasing Gantu's ship.
They definitely fight to get her back, and they end up landing back
on
Earth,
on Kauai.
And then the Federation comes.
Well, first Stitch like goes and breaks Lilo out of the little capsule thing that she's been held in. And she's like, you came back. And he says, nobody gets left behind.
Yeah. Family means nobody gets left behind.
Or forgotten. And so then the Grand Councilwoman shows up, tells Gantu, like, you didn't follow my fucking rules.
Gathers everybody, yokes him right the fuck up.
You better get back to the fucking Federation now.
Yeah, she's like, I'm putting you in retirement. You done.
And she wants to take Stitch too, still. And Stitch was like, this is my family. It's little and broken, but they're still good. Yep.
Yeah, I think good. So like she handcuffs him. He doesn't fight. He's polite. He says, excuse me. He says, thank you. He says he wants to go can I say my goodbyes to my family? And she's like, first, bitch, you speaking? Secondly, you got manners now?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so she kind of realizes he has redeeming qualities. He is not built just for destruction.
Right.
Like, obviously, he has relationships on Earth. And so what she decides to do is leave him on Earth under the supervision of Cobra Bubbles, who used to be a man in black in the 70s, apparently. And we find out Cobra was the one who convinced the council to spare Earth because of the mosquito population.
The thing, though, that she doesn't just have that change of heart on her own. She's very by the book, by the rules. And, you could tell, like, in her heart, she doesn't want to, like, take Stitch because she sees this growth. But it's Bubbles that kind of cracks the code that aliens follow. They love rules. And so he asks Lilo, like, didn't you buy Stitch or something? And she's like, yeah, I got this paper. I bought him for $2. And it says I own him. He's mine. That's stealing. And that's where the loophole comes about, that Stitch can stay.
And she said he's under official protection of the Galactic Federation. Like, that whole family now is under their protection. Cobra Bubbles is going to keep an eye on them. And then as she's getting on her ship, she goes, make sure those two don't come.
I was like, that's the badass bitch I know and love.
So Jumba and Pleakley are also left behind, which in subsequent movies and the TV series, they all live as a family together and they take care of one another,
which I think is what was needed. Like,
yes,
Nani needed backup.
Yeah.
And David seems like so chill that he doesn't even question that there's all these aliens around.
He's like, hey man, want to go surfing later? And then it ends with Burn in Love, covered by Winona Judd. And so they start showing pictures of like the new family. There's some tourists placed in there, but it's like all of these new things that Nani and David and Jumba and Pleakley and Lilo and Stitch are doing together. And then one of the last pictures is they get to visit Graceland because of Lila's love of Elvis. And then the very last picture, which I had never noticed until this viewing, and only because I happened to pause it, was that picture that of her family that she kept underneath her pillow. It kind of got charred when the house was destroyed, but Stitch handed it back to her, and it's now up on her wall, but where the like little charred piece is taken out of the corner, she put a picture of Stitch underneath it, so like he fits in with the rest of her family.
Oh, that's so cute. I'll have to go back and look at that. You mentioned that Tia Carrere and Jason Scott Lee, who voiced Nani and David, they both helped like give insight to actual Hawaiian culture and colloquialisms and some slang to help rewrite their dialogue to make sure it was correct. I did do like some digging to see how most Hawaiians felt about this movie. It
Mhm.
didn't seem like too many people were, they felt like it was okay. Some really enjoyed it. Some had issues with it because it felt more from a touristy standpoint,
Mhm.
not an everyday Hawaiian's real life.
They
But
did do a really good job. They went and shot reference footage at Hula Dancing Studio so that they made sure when they were animating those sequences that it was reflective of true Hawaiian hula dance and culture. And then it says, along with The Princess and the Frog from 2009, this is one of the only two films from the Walt Disney Animation Studios released in the 2000s to meet with critical praise and make its money back in its initial theatrical run. So it's one
nice.
of only two Disney Animation Studios pictures to make its money back in the theater, which I thought was interesting. It was nominated for Best Animated Feature, lost to Spirited Away, which was a bummer.
I mean, I love Lilo and Stitch, but Spirited Away was freaking amazing.
And
Don't
then
kill me.
it's fine. Everyone can have their opinion.
Okay.
It's speculated that Nani was actually an expert surfer. She has a ton of surfing trophies in her bedroom. And so it was very out of her element because she was supposed to just go on to like the pro surfing
Yeah.
circuit and instead had to
Deal with her sister and that
take care
damn
of her
blue dog.
sister. Yeah. And then last, it had special premieres in Honolulu and Graceland, which I really loved.
That is fun. That would have been cool to go to one of those.
I agree.
I mean, I definitely would have loved a full feature of Nani's surfing career. It would have done probably more justice than Blue Crush, but we're not going to go into that.
Maybe they can do like one of the animated shorts is like
Yeah.
Nani's surfing career. I love that.
So,
I love that journey for her.
uh,
Anywho, Danielle, what's your present day rating of Lilo and Stitch?
what did I give it? A 5-day rental before?
I think so, yeah.
I think I'm sticking there. It like I don't rewatch it a lot, but when I rewatch it, I do laugh at probably the same parts over and over again. So it's really good. I was, happy that it delved into a different culture.
Mhm.
I know it didn't get everything right, but I don't find anything completely out in my face problematic with it.
Mhm.
I love the sister bond so much. As you know, I'm very close with my sister. So with all my sisters.
And it
But it's,
brings up like the fact of like a sister having to be the legal guardian and like
yeah,
having a social worker involved in all of that stuff, which is not typical of, even if there are not parents in a Disney movie, like
yeah.
that's never
Yeah, it's
brought
usually
up.
like an aunt or an uncle. There's like an
Yeah.
adult, but like so many people have had that kind of, you know, family lifestyle where
Mhm.
it's a little bit different. And I like that they let Lilo's freak flag fly of how
I loved
different she
it.
was. And,
Yes.
and that her sister embraced it. Like
Mhm.
the only thing that she get frustrated with is that her sister wouldn't
Listen, which
listen.
is typical of any
Yeah.
6-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they very much loved each other. So I very much stay with my 5.
I obviously would buy it again. I own it on iTunes, like I said before. It's one of my, if I don't know what to watch, I'll just throw it on, or I'll put it on in the background when I'm cleaning, because it's one of those movies I've seen so many times that I don't have to watch it. I can just
Yeah.
listen to it.
You'd put it on at Blockbuster a lot too,
A
whenever we were
lot.
working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is when I used to watch it at Blockbuster, I would skip the first chapter of the DVD. So it started with the Hawaiian dance. Like I would always skip
I can
the,
understand that. The first
yeah.
part, like
It
if
just
you've
sets
seen it, you
everything
don't,
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't need it.
But like I said, I mean, it's just one of my favorite feel-good movies. It was a time in my life where I had a lot of stress and illness, and it was just something that made me really, really happy when I got out of the hospital.
Well, we'll definitely have to incorporate it in your birthday celebration next year.
Yes.
It's going to be a big one. Well, we did it. We did one of Jackie's ultimate favorite movies. If you want to tell us how you feel about the movie or any Disney animated recommendations that you'd like to see us do in the future, then hit up our hotline. We have a Google Voice number
909-601-NMLF 909-601-6653.
We really want to hear from you guys, and we want to include it in a new segment called Quick Drop, similar to the Blockbuster days where you'd be able to drop in your movies so that we can share it with everybody and have your voices be heard. So,
yes.
Jackie, tell everybody how to find us.
We are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at No More Late Fees, and then all the usual podcasting sites. So hit us up, tell a friend, tell lots of friends.
Yeah, and follow along and join us on June 26th for Lilo and Stitch Day. We'll be having some really fun content. Jackie's going to be sharing some of her, as she calls it, paraphernalia. I say memorabilia, but whatevs. And it's also going to be a few days before my birthday.
Woohoo! Danielle's birthday is June 28th, but she so graciously pushed her birthday episode forward so that it did not conflict with Lilo and Stitch Day on June 26th.
I don't know how I did that, but
Well, because your birthday, you feel like is the whole month, so it doesn't really matter.
It's true.
Next week will be our 4th of July episode, and we will be doing
Independence Day. Of course.
This is our day. Our Independence Day.
So hit us up and we will see you next week.
Until next time,
be kind and rewind.